America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, was built upon the ideals and vision of our founding fathers. But how well have we lived up to those ideals? Firstly, John Adams once wrote, "Let us dare to read, think, speak, and write. Let every sluice of knowledge be opened and set a-flowing." Adams believed that an informed society was vital to the health of a democracy. Today, we continue to value education and the free expression of ideas, upholding Adams's vision. Our public education system and institutions of higher learning strive to make knowledge accessible to all, promoting a society where people are encouraged to think critically and participate actively in the community. In 1776, Thomas Jefferson first spread the revolutionary principle that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, and that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. This idea emphasizes the power and responsibility of the people. In modern America, this principle is evident in our democratic processes, from local elections to national movements advocating for change. Grassroots organizations and voter advocacy groups work hard to ensure that the voice of the people is heard and that our government remains accountable to its citizens. Additionally, Benjamin Franklin, in his autobiography, advocated the ideals of education, civic responsibility, and practical wisdom. He believed that a righteous civil citizen was essential to the success of any republic. Franklin's contributions to public libraries and educational institutions laid the groundwork for a nation that values knowledge and self-betterment. Today, his vision is reflected in our continued investment in public education and community service. Programs that promote lifelong learning and civic engagement are testaments to Franklin's enduring influence on our society. However, not all of what the Founding Fathers said directly correlates to modern society. George Washington, in his farewell address, stressed the importance of national unity and warned against the dangers of political parties and sectionalism. This sounds much unlike our modern-day society, but our current system is in much different circumstances. George Washington didn't foresee that this system would help cultivate the exact ideals that he and his peers had overall. The system of political parties helps organize politics and encourages different opinions. Despite our political divisions, the fundamental commitment to national unity and democratic governance reflects Washington's enduring influence. Similarly, James Madison in 1789 emphasized the necessity of a well-regulated militia for the security of a free state and affirmed the right of the people to keep and bear arms. This right, among others, was included in the Bill of Rights to guarantee its status as a fundamental liberty, just like freedom of speech, religion, and the press. Today, this right is seen as a point of controversy within the world. What we all need to keep in mind is that the Founding Fathers did not create this right with the thought of modern combat weapons. This right came from the fundamental American concept that the people and that the individual should have most of the power and freedom within our society. These principles, not the law itself, are what the Founding Fathers wanted America to be based on. The Founding Fathers always intended for America's laws to be changed and rights amended with the changing time, as long as it was constitutional. This is why America has been doing a great job living up to our Founding Fathers. Throughout all our mishaps and mistakes as a country, the driving ideal of adhering to the foundational documents and concepts has been at the forefront of our nation's mind. All we and our Founding Fathers could ask for is steady progress and a push for improvement in the direction of the freedoms and liberties in America. To truly understand how well America has upheld these ideals, we need to dive into our history and explore a series of important moments. By looking at these key events and eras, we can see how the principles laid down by the Founding Fathers have been tested, challenged, and ultimately reinforced. For example, the Industrial Revolution brought significant changes, creating wealth and an industry, but also leading to urbanization and child labor. The rise of capitalism sparked debates about its positive and negative impacts on society. However, progress made in labor rights and economic regulations shows our ongoing efforts to align economic growth with the Founding Fathers' ideals of justice and equality. Benjamin Franklin, one of our Founding Fathers, emphasized the importance of civic responsibility and practical wisdom. In his writings, Franklin advocated for the improvement of society through collective efforts and personal responsibility. The establishment of labor unions and regulations ensuring fair labor standards reiterates Franklin's vision. Laws protecting workers' rights and improving working conditions are modern manifestations of the Founding Fathers' commitment to justice and equality, demonstrating a dedication to creating a society where all citizens can thrive, in line with the principles of fairness and responsibility that Franklin and his peers advocated for. Later, American involvement in World War I tested our commitment to democratic principles on a global stage. Balancing isolationism and interventionism, the U.S. navigated its role in promoting democracy while addressing the complexities of global politics. Our participation in the war in the following efforts to establish international organizations aimed at maintaining peace, like the League of Nations, which grew into the United Nations, show America's dedication to upholding democratic ideals and supporting global stability. As Thomas Jefferson said in the Declaration of Independence, governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. This principle underpinned America's efforts in World War I and the establishment of the League of Nations, reflecting a commitment to promoting self-determination and democratic governance worldwide. The formation of these international bodies demonstrates our adherence to the Founding Fathers' vision of a world where democratic ideals and peace are actively pursued. As a result of the prosperity of World War I, the 1920s, often referred to as the Roaring Twenties, were marked by economic boom and cultural upset, shown in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. This era showcased both the prosperity and the excesses of American society. The decade's glamorous lifestyle masked significant inequalities, yet it also highlighted the potential for progress and the enduring American dream. The economic growth of the 1920s demonstrated America's entrepreneurial spirit, while the challenges of prohibition and the stock market crash revealed the need for balanced governance and regulation to ensure stability and fairness. James Madison's words in the Federalist Papers resonate here. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. The exuberance and eventual downfall of the 1920s underscore Madison's point about the necessity of governance to mitigate human excess and maintain order. The regulations and reforms that followed the stock market crash, aimed at protecting the economy and the public, reflect the Founding Fathers' belief in the importance of a balanced and just government to safeguard the well-being of its citizens. Moreover, all this excess caused the Great Depression, the greatest economic turbulence in American history. This time period tested our resilience with the New Deal, the Dust Bowl, and the establishment of minimum wage and unions, reshaping our nation. These efforts reflected a shift in governmental roles, aiming to ensure economic stability and social welfare, aligning with the Founding Fathers' ideals of justice in the pursuit of happiness. The New Deal programs, designed to provide relief, recovery, and reform, showcase the government's responsibility to support its citizens in times of need, echoing the principles of a government by and for the people. John Adams, who emphasized the importance of a government that serves the people, once said, "Government is instituted for the common good, for the protection, safety, prosperity, and happiness of the people." The New Deal's focus on economic stability and social welfare aligns with Adams's vision, demonstrating a commitment to creating a society that prioritizes the well-being and prosperity of all its citizens. The establishment of minimum wage laws and labor unions reflects this dedication to ensuring justice and equality, core tenets of the Founding Fathers' ideals. As we recovered from the Great Depression, the world broke out into an ugly world conflict. World War II united the country, but also brought challenges like Executive Order 9066, which led to the internment of Japanese Americans. Despite these injustices, the war effort demonstrated national unity and sacrifice, showing America's ability to uphold democratic values even in times of crisis. The contributions of diverse groups, including women and minorities, to the war effort highlighted the nation's collective strength and commitment to defending freedom and democracy. As James Madison wrote, "In republics, the great danger is that the majority may not sufficiently respect the rights of the minority. This period in history underscores Madison's warning, yet the nation's overall response to the war, with citizens of all backgrounds uniting for a common cause, reflects the resilience and dedication to democratic principles envisioned by the Founding Fathers. The collective effort to defend freedom and democracy, even amidst internal challenges, demonstrates America's ongoing commitment to the ideals of justice and equality. The end of World War II in the 1950s introduced conformity, the GI Bill, suburban growth, the Iron Curtain, and the arms race, culminating in the Cuban Missile Crisis and the era of McCarthyism. These events tested the balance between security and freedom, with efforts like the GI Bill expanding opportunities for veterans and the middle class, reflecting the Founding Fathers' vision of an educated and prosperous citizenry. The development of suburban communities and the rise of consumer culture demonstrated the economic prosperity and societal stability that the Founding Fathers envisioned for a flourishing nation. George Washington, in his farewell address, emphasized the importance of education and knowledge for the preservation of liberty, stating, "Promote then, as an object of primary importance, institutions for the general diffusion of knowledge." The GI Bill's focus on providing educational opportunities for veterans embodies Washington's vision, ensuring that citizens are equipped with the knowledge and skills necessary for personal and national prosperity. The economic growth and societal stability of the 1950s reflect the Founding Fathers' ideals of a thriving, well-educated society committed to balancing freedom with security. Additionally, the Vietnam War era was marked by significant protests and movements like the Montgomery bus boycott, highlighting the ongoing struggle for civil rights. The boycott, sparked by Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her seat, led to a landmark Supreme Court decision ending segregation on public buses. This movement embodied the fight for equality and justice, challenging America to live up to its founding principles. The civil rights movement as a whole demonstrated the power of collective action and nonviolent protest in achieving social change, reflecting the democratic ideals of justice and equality for all. As John Adams once stated, "Liberty cannot be preserved without a general knowledge among the people." The civil rights movement, through education and awareness, mobilized citizens to demand justice and equality, showcasing the enduring relevance of Adams's belief in an informed and active citizenry. This era's efforts to secure civil rights are a testament to America's ongoing commitment to the Founding Fathers' vision of a just and equitable society. Lastly, the women's suffrage movement, which culminated in the 19th Amendment granting women the right to vote in 1920, is another powerful example of America striving to live up to the Founding Fathers' ideals. This movement, which spanned decades, embodied the principles of justice, equality, and the power of the people to enact change. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, among other suffragists, led the charge for women's voting rights, demonstrating the democratic spirit that the Founding Fathers envisioned. As Alexander Hamilton wrote in the Federalist Papers, "The fabric of the American empire ought to rest on the solid basis of the consent of the people." The success of the women's suffrage movement reflects Hamilton's assertion by expanding the democratic process to include women, thereby strengthening the foundation of American democracy. This achievement highlighted the nation's commitment to ensuring that all citizens have a voice in governance, aligning with the Founding Fathers' vision of a government that truly represents the people. As we reflect on the ideals of our Founding Fathers, we see that while we've faced significant challenges and made many mistakes as a nation, we have continually strived to uphold their vision and progress in a positive direction that would make them proud. From the early days of the Republic to the present, we have strived to embody John Adams's call for an informed citizenry, Thomas Jefferson's principle of government by consent, and James Madison's commitment to individual liberties. Our responses to the Industrial Revolution, the Great Depression, and World War II, as well as the civil rights movements and the women's suffrage movement, all demonstrate our ongoing efforts to align with the ideals of justice, equality, and democracy. Despite our struggles, the progress we have made reflects the enduring strength of our democratic foundations. The responsibility to maintain these principles lies within each of us, ensuring that the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice remain guiding stars for our nation for much more time to come.